It's where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. You tune in here because you hear things you don't hear anywhere else. We got a lot to discuss today. As always, joining me is part of the political junkie crew, Mega Jesse. How you doing, Mega Jesse?
I'm doing good. I think that we're going to expose how radical these Democrats are within Minnesota. I think we got lots of good stuff to get into.
You put together a top 10 list right before the show, so we're going to reveal this.
And I had to narrow it down. You know, the Democrats are crazy. You know, there's a million things to consider in a top 10 list of their craziest moves.
Yes, and this is specifically Minnesota Democrats, although we might expand it beyond the borders. Go to actionforliberty.com. You'll see it right on the top, and we're bringing that up in the show after we get through this very important story up front. Also joining me is Mr. Straight-Lace himself, William Beck.
Hey.
You asshole.
You usually ask how I'm doing, and then
really,
William, how are you?
It didn't. Thank you. I'm doing well, Jake. I'm ready to see it through off my whole thing. Anyway, let's get into it.
I don't even feel like it anymore. Let's just close this one down, Dawson. Running the dials is Dawson. No cam. Oh yeah, there you go. That's his camera view. He didn't want to be on camera today for some reason. I guess it's because his hair wasn't done. That's why he was late this morning. I don't know. We'll see. First story. Bring up the article. This is it does make the top 10 list, right, Jesse?
Oh yeah.
Number 3. A Democrat, radical Democrat. It doesn't even matter saying radical Democrat. It's synonymous. It's like it's redundant to say radical Democrat these days. Heather Keeler up in Moorhead. This is her second term. She first got elected in 2020. And she apparently thinks adopting Indian children is equivalent to continuing the practice of genocide. And not just anybody adopting these children. It's white Christians, as she says. Let's scroll down here. You wrote about this story, William. Tell us about what she posted on Facebook.
Yeah, well, you see the screenshot right there. Now, she either deleted it or she made it private. This is from her personal account, but the statements she makes are shocking nonetheless. She says, "I'm sick of white Christians adopting our babies and rejoicing," as opposed to adopting their babies and then
being sad
about it. I don't know. It's a really sad day when that happens. It means genocide continues, which we're making big leap there from adopting children to genocide.
Like, honestly, at this point, this is what these people believe. White Christians are the enemy. They're the aggressors. They're the terrible people. The sins of the past must be bore on today's generation of white Christians. Let's forget about that whole content and character instead of color of the skin. To these nut jobs, it's all about the color of skin, and in this case, also their religion.
Right.
Now, I always think like adoption, is a thing that comes from the place of love. My little brother down in Texas has adopted 2 children, basically drug addicted parent that really would have stood no chance. These kids would have had no future, and adopted 2 of them. In fact, the girl first, and then this nut job drug addicted woman had another child, right? And it's so sad. Those people, good parents that can't even have children, and then you have these ones that would be horrible parents that can have a million. So yeah, it's like that's come from a place of love, and thank God now these kids have a chance because they wouldn't have a chance with their normal parent. But according to Heather Keeler, that's equivalent to genocide when it's at least Indians. But you can imagine the Democrats just think of any single race, and if might not. I didn't mention it because it's not that important, but both children that my brother adopted are of different race. So it's like, why on earth is that a problem? Why? What is wrong with that? And how is that genocide? What else does she have to say about this?
Dawson, can you pull that back up here? Scroll back down. Back up to the screenshot there. White saviors are the worst. I mean, I think like the white guilt people are kind of the worst. You know, the ones that are like, "Oh, we're so sorry for our whiteness." But
Right.
I don't think that's what she's referring to here. So she authored a bill, and I believe now you can scroll down. It's HF 1071. This actually received broad bipartisan support, and we actually got to talk to some of these legislators because normally they're relatively good on the issues, but they all voted for this thing.
Did they vote for it? I didn't know this actually got voted in yet.
Sorry, I think it passed in the Senate, but we got to talk about
Are you
some
sure
of the
about that?
authors in the House.
Click on
Yeah,
HF
everyone but-
1071 there real quick.
Everyone but Draz voted for it. I
Oh,
think.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I did know about that. Yeah, okay. That's right. We did notice that bill. Yep.
Yeah.
Drazkowski from Mazeppa, Minnesota, the one senator to vote against it.
Right.
I think it's 667 or something like that in the Senate, SF. So it's a companion bill.
Well, what this bill, maybe this bill doesn't do a whole lot. It adopts some federal Indian reconciliation laws and puts it into state statutes. But this section here, I thought was particularly interesting because it would essentially try to keep adopted children or children up for adoption on the Native American reservation. So it doesn't matter if there's a family that wants to put their children up for adoption. Instead, this would allow the tribe to step in and prevent that from happening, which, that prevents a child from going to a loving home,
Right.
Most likely, which that'd be sad to see if that's what they really want.
Right. And, once again, a big government approach, in this case, like the tribes are the ones that get to determine it, not like the parents or maybe the locality. It's just like we are going to determine, and according to her, it can't be white Christians, which is so ridiculous. Which, once again, who was it that did this on the Senate floor? Was that John Hoffman, I want to say? He was, I think he was offended by something that somebody said. He said, "My wife's a Christian." He said it that way. Like,
Oh, that's a weird way of putting it.
yeah, like I'm not,
Like-
but my
yeah.
wife's a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Right.
to look that up. I know Tushy knows that. He keeps using it in reference. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good fun.
Yeah, and what's interesting is these Democrats, they're more radical, like you said. They're not even close to the Martin Luther King Jr. Standard on race. They're even further left than Malcolm X. These people are crazy, and she wants to push this, the myth. It's a complete exaggeration about the Native Americans. Most of them died through disease. Even the Trail of Tears, the Andrew Jackson thing, even that was a lot exaggerated. There's a lot more history to that one. But it's interesting to see the way they are so divisive. They want to attack white people, make us feel like we're inferior.
Well, that's what really bothers me about this whole, Indian affairs conversation, so to speak. I wish this is out there. I'm not certain it's out there, Dawson. Otherwise, I'd have you look it up. But when Carlos Mariani retired, so this would have been the end of 2022. So
Yeah,
this
it was just this
recent.
last session that he gave his retirement speech.
Did we cut a video on this? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I do remember watching it live, though. I remember seeing all of the people on the House floor, everybody giving their final speeches, and I remember him being extra special.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, you know what? It'd be really easy because it was right at the beginning of his speech. He goes, before I get to my retirement speech, I want to recognize, I think he says Ojibwe, but maybe he just says
I think
Indians.
that's right.
Yeah. The land that we are on right now. I'm like, oh my freaking gosh. So it's like, well, whose land is it? You can't just say it's Indians as if that's one thing.
Yep.
It's like the tribes didn't get along. There was no system of government before settlers started moving out west.
Right. There was even a war between two different tribes in Minnesota, and
A
Theodore
war?
Roosevelt.
There was plenty of wars.
Plenty of them, but
Yeah.
I know of one where Theodore Roosevelt actually got involved and was trying to be the peacemaker of it.
Right.
So there's all kinds of history to this.
And there's like no government, so it's like, well, how do you understand whose land is whose? And of course, back then, when you have no system of government, you're not a more advanced civilization. What you do is you feud and you war.
Yep.
Like at least we have a system of laws, which I hope everyone appreciates, where we have private property. And so then if you infringe on someone's private property, the court system will handle it. Not feuding wars and feuding tribes and stuff like that, which is a terrible system to raise children in.
Yeah.
Not that she would care about that, by the way.
We got a couple comments
Sure.
here on Rumble. MT Anderson 1 says, but Keeler loves the money from white Christians. Another one, another BS bill we the people did not ask for. A final one from her on this subject, and then we have another comment. Carlos Mariani was the chief author of the Mensure bill in 2013. And then this is slightly off topic, so I don't know if we want to finish this up and then come back.
Oh, what's the topic? You can't dangle that out in front of us and go, oh, but it's off topic. I might want this topic.
So new F2727 says, Jake, did that liberal that you called last week ever call you back?
Yeah. Great question. He called me. I was busy working. It was like 3:30, and quite frankly, I was just not interested. I'd rather done it on air. It would have been interesting to see how he handled it. Maybe he would have been potty mouthed, but my experience is when you just confront these haters in politics, they have nothing to say, right? So, and we had this on air. You could go to our Rumble channel, might be on YouTube as well, but you could see we clipped the part where we actually call this liberal who had very very interesting thing to say to me in a voicemail, and then he was like completely polite and didn't swear at all. He said he was at work, which we tried getting out of him where he worked, but it didn't work out. So yeah, great question. We never did the follow up on that. All right, well, let's go to our top 10 list here. Now this, I gotta admit, and I want your guys' comments, especially if you're on Rumble, but if you're on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to comment there. We might get to it. But Rumble's the place to go. Go to Truth Hurts on Rumble. And if you've never watched the show before, that's very important because all those other guys like to censor us. Rumble is the one that's actually stood up for us. So go to Rumble, rumble.com, look up the Truth Hurts show. The top 10 craziest moments of Democrats in 2023. Let's pull up that website there, Dawson. You put this together. This has not been vetted, all right?
Yep.
This is Jesse's top 10 list. So comment if you disagree with the order, but let's see. What do you got for number 1 there, Jesse?
Yep, so number 1, Muslim Senator Omar Fateh says the threat of terrorism is not from immigrants. Instead, it is from white supremacists who look like members that sit in the front, and he's gesturing towards the GOP legislator. So Omar Fateh says it's not that it's white people that are causing the problems, that he quotes the Department of Homeland Security using some bogus statistics to try to pin this on us. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think we need to alter how you frame this one, though. It should be from quote-unquote white supremacists. Because let's be honest, the real white supremacists that they think exist really don't.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's definitely the term they like to throw around and apply to anyone who votes Republican or anything. So,
right.
But yeah, you're right. That is totally a term that is co-opted.
That's what pisses me off about the modern left doing this, is because white supremacists are repugnant, and we should all be unified against them. But when you go around and say all MAGA Republicans are white supremacists, you're telling me a lie, and therefore you basically detract from what that term actually is supposed to mean. They do this with Nazis.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They do this with fascists. They completely murder those
right,
words.
even though Antifa is the real fascists. They're
Right.
the ones who, go out, protest the streets. They're the ones who destroy businesses, censor speech. They're anti-free speech. They're the real fascists, these leftists are.
And speaking of Omar, we got a comment from K Wall for Life. Asking, what does Omar Fatah plan to do about it? Where is his evidence?
What does that have to do with anything? These days, no one in the media is going to call him out. Why does he need evidence?
Right.
There's no investigative journalism. We were the first to report on this. I think Alpha News maybe reported on it. Has anyone else reported about that? He literally looks up in the front at Republican legislators, senators, and calls them basically the reason we're going to have a problem. Well, actually, that's the interesting thing is, if they cross the border, they're going to be a problem. It was all in a debate about driver's license for illegals.
Yeah.
The question that was brought up by a Republican senator is, how do we stop someone coming across the border up to Minnesota? We give them a driver's license and they can board on a plane. How do you stop that? Valid question. I'm actually kind of interested in the answer to that one. You know what I'm also interested in? How on earth are we going to be carbon-free in Minnesota in 2040? And what does that bill actually do to climate change?
Right.
Like, give me the numbers, and they'll never answer that
Oh,
question.
yeah.
So that's where it came up.
They don't even have a plan to actually get it done. They know that it's wishful thinking. The Democrats know that it's not achievable, that you can't have the entire power grid on electric, non-fossil fuels. It's impossible to even accomplish that.
Right. Yeah, we should pen down every Democrat that voted for it and say, what's the plan? You voted for it, and it's going to affect all of us. And by the way, last year I checked, it gets really cold here in the winters.
Right, exactly. On YouTube here we got a comment. Leah Liu says that, do you think America is headed towards Sharia law? And that's a good question. I think that it's not completely compatible with what the leftists want, but the leftists, what they want is control. They definitely like to push this Islamic agenda on us, and we're not allowed to question any of it. We have to be perfect choir boys and say that, oh, there's nothing going wrong here, even though we have all of these Somali refugees who are coming into Minnesota, increasing the crime, stabbing people in the Mall of America, and we're supposed to sit back and pretend like nothing's going on.
Well, I don't agree with that at all. I don't think it's Sharia law that they're going to try to implement, because in many ways they don't want a God. The God has got to be government. So the real threat here is this global cabal that's pushing this leftist agenda on us, and it's global, right? This is not just people from inside our own borders. And that could have many different flavors. Communism is like the top flavor because it's total control of government, right?
Yep.
They don't care as long as they're whining and dining and keeping their lives the same.
Yeah, and I just had this realization that the globalist agenda, the globalist movement, it's a racist movement. Look at the people that are a part of it.
Yeah.
It's all these, elitist European countries.
Yep.
It doesn't involve Africa. It doesn't involve the Middle East. It doesn't involve India. It doesn't involve all these other places. And it just shows that it's these white liberal elitists, globalists who are the ones that are really pulling it.
Now you sound like Heather Keeler. You bring up white national globalists. I mean, what are you doing now?
Yeah, well, I'm just I'm blaming Europe.
William, it's infectious.
It's spreading, I guess. We should
yeah.
probably keep it rolling here. Let's move on to the second one that Jesse put up.
Wait, what the hell was that all about, Dawson?
This is my show now.
Apparently, I am the captain.
Speaking of Somali,
I don't know what that was.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's like the
I'm
timekeeper.
trying to keep things moving along.
Well, yeah, clearly we know that, William. Jeez. Hey, can I have tomorrow off, by the way? I just wondering, Is that granted? No, I got to come in.
Oh,
okay, shoot.
Oh,
He's in charge now.
Yep, I'm in charge.
All right.
Let's see. We got a couple comments here.
Oh, wait. We're not rolling anymore. William wants us to keep rolling.
Yeah, right. Well,
we'll go. Well, Jesse and I are we're of the people. We're for the people, so we'll go to the people and hear what they have to say.
We also have
don't
a
need this
comment
tyrant over here telling us.
We also
when
have
to
a
wrap
comment
things
on
up.
Facebook after you do
Okay.
the YouTube ones.
Well, KDKN50 says, "Mark me in the genocidal maniac column. I'm guilty of inviting an indigenous boy to our family through adoption. The courts gave his mom several months to get clean, and she chose drugs and alcohol."
Yeah, and think of the heart of someone that does something like that, and just anyone to even say something so crazy about that adoption's a thing of love.
Yep.
And she's shitting on it, and then throwing Christianity under the bus while she's at it, because Christianity's so terrible. I'm thinking she's just watching this new series 1923 on Paramount, which is an offshoot of Yellowstone. It's a really interesting thing. They got this young school-age girl, Indian girl, in a Catholic church, Catholic-run school. I mean, this thing, obviously it's Hollywood, but they're making obviously the priest and the nuns in here are just completely evil, right? Like murderous and everything like that. But like they're in this delusion that Hollywood's actually happening, because it's not. It's
right.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And one more comment here. TMBA says Muslims called for jihad while standing in the Minnesota state capitol. I'm not familiar with that. If you got a video or any kind of evidence on that, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, let us know. Although we should be more worried about the two numbnutses that got tricked by 14 FBI agents to go kidnap Governor Whitmer.
Yeah.
You guys know about that, right?
Yeah, these special needs guys. That's who they're trying to convince.
You know that? Like, people at home, like, honestly, this whole kidnapping of Governor Whitmer is like, it was like 16 people, 14 of them were FBI agents.
Yeah.
And they're prodding these two people to go do it. They weren't going to do it. This has been done many times. God, the government is just awful.
Yeah, can't be trusted.
Yeah.
So we have Bill Dengsvin.
Oh, yeah?
On
we
Facebook.
got Bill Pining. All right, what does Bill have to say?
And I think this is fair play because Andrew Schmitz was a candidate for office, but despite all of Omar Fattah's ethics complaints and lunatic behavior, and despite Fattah being a carpetbagger from D.C., Andrew Schmitz couldn't even manage to get 10% of the vote against him.
That's
Pathetic.
true.
That's
That's
from
true.
Bill.
Yeah, that's... Thanks for that.
Your laugh is what's getting me right now, Jake. It's funnier than
Thanks,
the
Bill,
comment
for that
itself.
comment. That's true. Omar Fatah did beat Andrew Schmitz with 91% of the
Yeah,
vote.
something like that, 91-9. It's crazy.
Okay. Oh, Bill Dingsfin, whatever his name is, his comments go right to the top. All right, let's go to number 2.
All
What's
right.
number 2?
Yep, number 2 is the that radical Democrat Sidney Jordan is pushing a bill that makes plastic water bottles illegal. Just
Yes.
shows how crazy these people are. They want to get rid of everything. And who knows why she's pushing anything like this. They want to pretend like this is to save the climate, despite the fact that, forest fires have done more damage to our environment than humans have done in our entire existence. It just goes to show how crazy and controlling these Democrats are.
100%. Okay, and I don't think that one needs any further explanation.
Yep.
We've actually talked about it on the show before.
Yes, I don't know if I placed that one at number 2. Just
Right.
It is crazy. This is Jesse's. This hasn't been vetted. If you guys
Yep,
disagree,
things
let
can
us
be
know.
flipped around.
Yes, please.
We need to
comment
hear the
in
rest
here.
of the list before we decide the
Okay,
order.
yeah, but I think it's a really crazy thing. It's just not as look at number 3 is more crazy. This is
Yeah.
the story we've been talking about. Heather
Yep.
Keeler says that she's sick of white Christians adopting our babies and said white people need to stop stealing our babies.
Yeah.
And when she says our babies, like as if we have no decision over Indians, well, then why does she have decisions over my life? Why does she get to pass the budget in Minnesota? If you
Right.
want to live and be this like sovereign nation, your tribe, and we can't opine on anything there and can't do something of love and adopt a child that needs a good home, then why do you get to tell me what happens to the surplus money?
Right.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's ridiculous.
There's
Right.
plenty of tribal leadership opportunities. It's not
Yeah.
like those things are non-existent. If this is her issue, if this is what she really cares about, she should stick to there. She should stick to the tribe and try to improve things from within. Because just by insulting us like this, it doesn't improve anything.
All right.
We got another comment on Rumble here from MT Anderson 1. He says,
Good people. You might have left us and went to Florida, but we'll still allow Mark's comments to be read.
well, that's what I was about to say. He says, Mark Anderson here. Democrats love to appear environmental, like banning plastic water bottles, but they're all for using disposable diapers applicable to their babies that are chosen to not be aborted or given up for adoption
No,
in
maybe
Native American communities, but nowhere else.
that might be the big thing here that's happening is abortion really is to stop all those plastic diapers. There you go. He's
Maybe.
onto
It's
it.
the ultimate climate change
Yeah.
prevention.
Yeah, but the plastic, I don't think it has to do with the climate change, is it? Well, yeah, because it's a byproduct of petroleum, so maybe it is.
well,
Maybe
yeah,
that's
they
what
don't
it is.
want to ban them for
I thought
fun.
I thought it had more to do with just landfills and filling up the ocean, which
Oh,
obviously.
that's also a climate change thing, though.
Well, how's the plastic in the ocean deal with climate change?
I guess it's all under the umbrella of climate change.
Yeah,
but really
I
it's
guess
about
it'd
the
be more
environment.
Well, yeah, they'll
pollution,
wrap anything
pollution
into
than
it.
climate. Yeah.
Yeah. When you got farting cows as part of the climate change, I guess anything works. By the way, last night I was in the mood to watch Man Bear Pig episode from South Park. So good. Al Gore. Man Bear Pig is real. I'm super cereal.
Yep, half man, half bear, half pig.
Yep. All
But,
right.
Yeah, continuing on with the
yep.
list here.
Is that okay with you, William? Should we continue on?
Dummycrat Representative Jerry Newton pushes a bill that forces you to have all of your lawn care equipment, the lawnmower, chainsaw, leaf blower, trimmer, and everything else must be electric. You can't use gas-powered lawn mowers anymore, according to Jerry Newton.
Okay,
and this
so-
is a guy in a
yeah.
swing district. I can't believe that he's even suggesting ideas like this because this is something that 99% of people, anyone that has a brain, is against this.
Yes.
So what I find interesting here, Jesse, is that you call let's get the list back up here. You call Jerry Newton a Dummycrat, but then right next you say Democrat Senator John Hoffman and Democrat Representative Heather Keeler.
Well,
Are
the
you
reason
saying
I
they're
did that,
intelligent in comparison?
no,
to,
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
Yeah,
that
that's
Jerry
fair.
Newton is specifically dumb. I'm saying that he is.
This is a true statement.
Right,
That
I'm
is
saying
true.
that he's a Dummycrat just because I can't believe that you would push something so stupid
in a swing district.
in a
like
swing
yours,
district.
yeah.
Exactly.
But they're all Dummycrats if we're going to use the moniker,
Right,
which
that's
I like.
right.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of electric lawn equipment I guess that's the word you use, lawn equipment, power tools, whatever it is, because I have Milwaukee tools, and so they came out with lawn equipment. I love it to death, especially like the 2-cycle stuff, because I just don't have a big enough lawn where the 2-cycle mixing the gas and oil, I end up having this thing and it goes to waste every year. But my lawnmower is gas powered, especially guys with big lawns.
Right.
It's ridiculous that you would get rid of those, especially riding lawnmowers.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know how they would even have an electric riding lawnmower.
Well, they
that
do.
would
They
be
make them.
Right, but how long can that charge for?
Oh,
how long will it last?
I think the best case is it does an acre with like a normal cut before you got to charge the 4 batteries. What is that? Is it Ego brand? I think does them. Yeah, I'm sure there's more than just that. I think Toro might have an electric lawnmower as well. Pretty cool. Just not great.
Yeah, I'd like to see what kind of equipment Jerry Newton has. Let's see what kind of equipment this environmentalist has. Let's see if he has a lawnmower.
Well, I'm very woke because I've obviously got my electric stuff.
Yeah.
But the point is, you just don't mandate it.
Yeah.
And once again, Democrat Jerry Newton, if your bill passes, tell me exactly what impact that will have on global temperatures.
Oh, of course.
They can't do that. That's how you know this whole thing's a scam. It's like they propose these things that are going to change our lives, they're going to cost us more money, and they have no way of tracking its success.
Making regular citizens into criminals, just for having a gas-powered lawnmower. It's unbelievable.
Yes, and by the way, it's a cult. That's what they're in. They're in this freaking cult. You would just think at some point you'd look at your leaders of the cult and you go, why does Barack Obama have a mansion on Martha's Vineyard at sea level? If it's really going to rise, why would he spend all his fortune on that mansion? Maybe you should look at your cult leaders. Why does Al Gore fly private planes,
Yep.
Excelsior!
Greta Thunberg, same thing. Yeah, I mean, every single one of these, John Kerry, you just go down the list of every single top climate person. They're all flying private planes. They all put way more CO2 into the emission than any of us ever will. So
That's right.
Just shows how ridiculous they are. We got a couple more comments here, too.
Are we going to get a visit from Handyman Tim today? Is he Dawson? He's not saying anything. We want to introduce everyone to Handyman Tim eventually. He's got to get on set sometime.
But let's see. TMBA says that the Muslims calling for jihad in the state capital was February 13th, 2023. I'll do my due diligence, see what happened exactly there. And then Leah Lou says, this is Walls wanting to be a part of California. This insanity. Electric lawn care equipment is okay with some things, but try to have a chainsaw with an electric dealio.
Exactly. I actually have an electric chainsaw. How dare you? My Milwaukee chainsaw is awesome, and I can do it. I can run it any hour of the day because it's not going to wake people up. However, it's got its limits. It's also nice to have a gas-powered chainsaw, and I don't want the government telling me one way or the other.
While we're still on this, we got a great comment from K-Wall for Life on Rumble. They say, Jerry probably has a lawn service that uses 10 times as much gas as a personal mower.
Yeah.
And then Brad Ganser says, Jake needs a bigger lawn.
I do. I agree with you. We do have an expert in electric tools, Handyman Tim. Come on in the set here. I've been trying to prod him. I want him on the set. Our handyman around here, he always comes in my office, got the next conspiracy, talking about politics. And then eventually we start talking about Milwaukee tools. So, because, well, just tell him to come, just go behind Mega Jesse or William or something. Don't make it like it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Why is it a big deal?
Because I put up with you every day.
Did you get your makeup on?
What makeup?
Hey, all right, grab a stool so we can see him behind William's chair. I'm just kidding. I was just kidding. That was a height joke.
That was a height joke?
What do you think about Milwaukee's, you got to stand right behind the mic here. What do you think about Milwaukee's lawn garden tools?
They're decent.
That's it?
I mean.
There you go. They're decent. Put it on the screen.
The whole thing is that I guess I'm not ready to convert everything to electric.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do have their place. A lot of the cordless tools have their place. For doing small yards or small jobs, yeah, I see that, the Milwaukee's going to be a good tool. There's a lot of other brands that are out there that are making the same thing. They're trying to get on this game. But I don't believe that.
What are you doing right now? When you're around the office, you never say anything nice about the other brands. It's always Milwaukee with you. Now you're like, he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose sponsorships here if I don't
Yeah.
allude to some of these other brands.
I'm just saying there's other brands. Some of them aren't as good as Milwaukee,
No,
but
of
there's
course
other
not.
brands.
Yeah.
So, I'm not telling you that you have to go out and buy Milwaukee. I'm not going to be a politician here and tell you have to do this or you have to do that.
Yeah, well, then maybe Jerry Newton needs to do that. He was telling us to do everything else. Can't get gas powered. Might as
Yeah.
well, that'd be funny. They just pimp up their own brands, right?
Well, the whole thing is that he drives a luxury car.
Does he?
Well, I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't drive a Prius. I'll tell you that.
Larry David drove a Prius for
Yeah.
many years, so
But,
and the wealthy can do it.
Yeah, they should do it. If you want me to change, I want to see you change first.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm going to follow what you do, not what you say.
gotcha.
It's just like the kids with the parents.
Well, we're not exactly going to follow them, though, are we?
Well, no.
You never catch me dead driving a Prius.
Well, I don't know if you could get 4-wheel drive and maybe put 37s on it.
Maybe.
I actually kind of want to see. I'm gonna
But-
try to get in your will to put your dead body into a Prius, just so we can prove that wrong. When you die, we'll actually throw
Good
it in a
luck
Prius.
with that, Jake.
We'll bury it too, because that's what's gonna happen to all the other Priuses.
Well, I think we could get him drunk and just throw him in one, and then when he wakes up.
Oh,
he's
we're
in
not
one.
advocating for illegal activity. He's not going behind the wheel, Tim. Jeez.
Well, I didn't
What
say-
conspiracy you got today?
The first, I want to point out that
all I
the
can
first
say is-
episode, that Tim comes on, he advocates for illegal
activity. Exactly. It is one of those interesting things.
I didn't
remember.
say he was going to drive illegally. I just.
I
said
know,
we're gonna
but I
throw him
think
in
you
it.
can't. It says behind the wheel, doesn't it?
As long as I don't
Yeah,
have
I didn't
access
say
to
you had the
keys.
keys.
Yeah.
So it's not illegal if I've still got the keys and I'm standing out in front laughing at him, taking pictures proving that he's still alive in a Prius.
Yeah.
We're really deep down this hypothetical now.
Do you think if we get rid of gas-powered lawnmowers, Bob Lunan, when he boozes up, he'll actually be drinking more because he's got to use electric, or less because it's more efficient? What do you think?
Bob Lunan's taking any opportunity he can get to drink. That's who he is, boozing Bob Lunan.
Boozing Bob Lunan.
Losing.
Yeah.
Always losing,
What-
always boozing.
What conspiracy you got for us today, there, Tim?
Well, the only thing
Anything?
I read something about on the Judicial Watch about 1.2 million illegal votes were found in L.A. County. And I thought,
We got fact check him on air, by the way.
so my whole question is if you found it in L.A. County, California, which is one of the more corrupt states out there, I says, what about the other states?
So
that are
you're
corrupt?
saying they found those were illegal votes, the votes that
Illi-
should not be casted?
Yep.
1.2 million?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm seeing a story from the North Platte Bulletin. Los Angeles County, others removed millions of ineligible voters from rolls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd they even discover this? Like,
Actually, Judicial Watch, like you were saying, or maybe you can tell the story.
Well, no, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay.
I just brought it up.
So this is a lawsuit that was filed in 2017, actually. So it's been in the works for a while.
So I don't
Yeah,
wanna hear-
they settled in a similar lawsuit in New York where they removed 441,000 ineligible voters.
So anybody crying and saying that our voting system isn't corrupt, there's proof right there that it is.
oh, I mean, that's insane.
I mean,
No, I'm
and
just
it's
thinking,
been going on for years. It's not just
right.
the presidential election; it's all these elections.
Yeah.
All the way down to your.
There goes
mayors.
our YouTube right there. So Tim's first experience, and we just got kicked off YouTube and got a strike again. And you laugh, but that's literally going to happen. Just watch.
Perfect.
Even though you're bringing up actually something that was found, and there's evidence that there's 1.2
Yeah, exactly.
million.
So we
But I can't talk about that on YouTube.
Right.
so we brought it up. We fact checked it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we proved that it's legitimate, and yet we're still going to get banished
Tim,
because
we had a Mayo-trained medical doctor sitting on this set discussing vaccines, and we got kicked off of YouTube for medical misinformation. I go, explain to me who you have on staff that's brighter than this individual right here, this MD.
yeah.
But, you're talking to some bot. You're not talking to actually anyone there, and 30 minutes later, I think the bot actually laughs a little bit. Under its breath, kind of goes, and then says, "We stand by our community standards." That's how I see the bot working.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think YouTube is not much better than Facebook and Twitter. as far as censorship goes.
Oh,
Well,
they're
Twitter's
actually
much better than when it comes to censorship.
Well,
Now it is.
yeah,
they're getting- they're
the
getting
Elon
better.
Musk.
Yeah, they're getting better.
There-
Even
it's
Elon
still-
Musk, yeah, he's
it's still
got
there.
problems.
He's still got problems there. It hasn't totally fixed itself, but it's getting better.
It's pretty close.
You know,
There's
I've-
still some mistakes, like Mike Lee's Senator Mike Lee's personal account was banned the other day. for,
Really,
like,
I
no
didn't see
reason
that.
given.
So that's 2 senators now in 2023 that have had. Their,
Right. I'm
Twitter
sure it'll be restored pretty quickly. I'm
I
sure
know,
it's just
but
like a
That's
problem with
2
the algorithm,
senators now that have
Right.
had their account taken down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a freaking problem.
so much for freedom of speech.
Well, at least Elon Musk has got like there's a department answering to this stuff, you know, or at least the guy from the top.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But-
All right, let's move on. Thanks, Tim, for joining us. If you guys want to see Tim in the future, he's always hanging around and bugging me every day. So we're
have to keep Jake on his toes.
yeah, that's it. Well, if I'm on my toes, I'm even that much taller than you. All right, so let's go to what are we on, number 5 at this point?
Let's see.
Yeah, John
Yep.
Hoffman.
S-
Not
Democrat-
Democrat though. This guy.
Yep, Democrat Senator John Hoffman voted against bringing his own bill to the floor that would have returned $2,200 per individual of the surplus money. So,
All right, explain
Uh,
this to people.
right. So, in order to bring a bill to a vote, you have to bring it from the committee onto the floor. That's what Senator Bill Liskey did. He offered to bring that bill onto the floor. Senator John Hoffman, who is an author of the bill, voted against bringing it onto the floor. So he voted with the Democrats. He caved to the Democratic pressure, just fell in line with whatever he's told to do, because John Hoffman wants to use this to tell voters, see, I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting to get your surplus money back. And then when the time comes to do it, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, what's his excuse? The money's in the bank account.
Right.
We have we don't have $21 billion in the bank account. That's a projected going forward, but there's probably like $15 billion or something like that. They can give that surplus back. They can do it right now. And if you are feeling the pain of inflation, John Hoffman's standing in the way.
Yeah.
And for what reason? Don't you believe in the legislation? You put your name on it? Why aren't you wanting a vote on this thing? Oh, there's not enough time. We got to go through the committee process. Bullshit. You guys are ramrodding abortion in all cases down on us, but you can't put the money back in our pockets.
Yep, it shows he doesn't actually want to return
No.
the surplus money. All these Democrats just want to spend it all on their own pet projects, their own special interests, the lobbyists, and everything else. So
Yeah, it's
shows
not
we're-
just the Democrats that are frauds on this too.
Sure.
We covered how the Republicans, their big give it back, campaign. They're taking our talking point on the give it back campaign.
Yeah.
And then they don't even give it all back.
Right.
How do you do that?
Yep.
How do you actually go and say, with the Republicans, Democrats are so crazy they're not giving anything back, and we're going to give back half of it?
Not even half.
Not even half.
Yeah, in the Republican bill, it was a worse plan than what Liskey was doing. It shows that, these Republicans, they're weak. They won't even give us back half of the surplus. It should all be going back to the taxpayers.
Yes, exactly. We need a Republican senator at least sponsor that. Eric Morrison had a really good bill. It just said income tax holiday. So if you don't have to pay income taxes in 2023, or it'll go back a year. So you get to pick either one. All right, should we get to number 6? Is that okay, William? I know you want the time to keep moving.
I suppose
I'm just gonna
I'll
keep
allow
doing
it this time, Jake. But don't push it.
Yeah. Anti-white Democrat Representative Kaylee Vang-Her blames a few white men in the Democratic Party for holding up their radical abortion agenda. As if the abortions in all cases bill wasn't enough, they were pushing even further legislation. And Kaylee Vang-Her was actually blaming white men in the Democratic Party for why she can't get it done.
Which is why we speculated Zach Stevenson came out as bisexual because, he was just another one of the white men in the Democrat Party, which seems to be hated. So,
Yep.
that's Zach Stevenson who, if he was playing soccer, he kicks the ball into both goals.
Yep. And a couple more comments here. Leah Lou.
Are those ever going to get old, William? Like that. If he plays lacrosse, he's also shooting both goals.
Oh, sorry, I was reading the comments.
Yeah,
here,
okay. All right.
But
William and I have just not clicked today. I don't get what's going on.
yeah.
Jeez.
But Leah Lou, she apologized. She said, "Sorry, Jake, for making fun of your electric equipment at home, your power tools."
I was very deeply offended. As you
yeah.
can tell from the show, my skin's really thin. So,
Yep.
no, I mean, honestly, though, the reason I did is just purely because, and it was expensive, but, Tim and I could talk about how you find deals. In fact, Tim showed me another Milwaukee deal at Home Depot today. I don't want to say it on air because then everyone's going to buy it and then I can't get it. But it's just because it's 2-cycle engines. You got to mix the oil and the gas together, and my lawn just doesn't have the needs to, like, what I'm weed whipping, and I didn't actually have a leaf blower, but well, I guess it was only a trimmer. That's probably it. I had something else. But anyhow, it's just easier to have electric.
Right.
And it's the same batteries. I already have the batteries, right? So I didn't need the batteries. I already got plenty of power tools.
Leah Lou also goes on to say that John Hoffman decided to vote against that bill because he wants to keep the money to pay for the illegal driver's licenses. That's definitely one way the government's going to waste our money.
And think about that. Great comment. The Democrats have prioritized giving driver's license to people who aren't even citizens, who broke laws to come here. Meanwhile, they're not giving back the money they overtaxed you by.
Yep. And then TMBA says, LOL, we cut 3 acres, chop wood, and use a brush hog, so we don't want to use electric.
No,
and
no, I
especially
know.
on a
Great
property
point.
like that, you got a great property.
Exactly. Think about, how do you even do it with that kind of project?
Right. Yeah, impossible.
Yeah, like, I love my electric chainsaw, but at the end of the day, the electric chainsaw is, even if I use my 8-amp battery, if you got a decent project, you're going to have to recharge that thing, and it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Even with rapid charger, I think it's 40 minutes or something like that.
We got another comment from Brad Ganser on Rumble.
I
He
don't like how
says-
you laughed before reading it. Do we even want this comment?
He says, Milwaukee, I bet you drive a Ford too.
Yeah, I do. What are you trying to say there, Brad? Mr. DeWalt and Chevys?
Also, there's a comment we missed on Facebook. Did I close out of Facebook? Anyway,
I don't know. I can't
it
see.
said something like Greta had another fake arrest. I think we were talking about Greta Thunberg earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What? Pull it up. What do we got? I don't know. No, I'm saying pull up the look up Greta Thunberg. How's it?
Thunberg, yeah. I didn't hear. I heard that she did a fake staged arrest thing one time
like
here.
a month
So
ago.
yeah. So if they're saying there's another one, I wouldn't put her past it.
Or maybe
Trump-
that's what they're referring to here. I'm not sure.
What was Trump's comment about her that one time?
Just that she had to control her temper or something, or she needed to keep her emotions under control or something.
The world is such.
He knows how to tease.
The world is such a hard place. I almost just want Trump back as president just for the lulz, Oh man, what's it saying? What's that top one say? False claim that Greta Thunberg's. Well, let's see. We'll just go to.
That was the
That was the previous
first one. Yeah.
Go back. Just hit news on the top. See if there's something that pulls up.
no.
I don't know.
Everything's from a
Fake
month
arrest
ago.
conspiracy. I don't know.
Hmm.
Wow, interesting. Well, send us a link. Let us know what you got.
Yeah.
All right. What's number 7?
Transgender woman in quotes there because we all know what the truth is on that. Representative Leah Finke pushes a bill that makes Minnesota a sanctuary state for child genital mutilation.
I think that first section there should be a thing on its own, like a number on its own. Transgender state representative.
Yeah, just the fact that that thing exists.
Right. That other thing, I think this should be higher on the list personally.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of crazy.
It is.
Yeah, and I just realized because I read this list before, you missed a story on what the heck was it? We reported about something on transgenderism. What the hell was that I'm thinking of?
Well, I remember we had a story on Leah Finke and how he
but it wasn't
was
about-
pushing this bill.
But it wasn't on Finky though.
Hmm.
The how did this not make the list? This is on the list.
What's that?
The men can menstruate.
Oh man, how did I
Oh
miss that
my
one?
gosh.
I don't know.
Jesse,
There's so much. That's what I was
this
saying.
is the best I get when I give you a task 5
come
minutes
on.
before the show. Come on, why can't you do better?
Yeah,
All right,
look-
let's pause the list right there. We'll come back.
Yeah,
with the
and feel
remainder
free to
list.
comment.
We're
Let
gonna do
us
a little
know.
perfecting. Send us an email. Let's send an email to Jesse. What email should they send it to?
JesseSmithFreedom@gmail.com.
JesseSmithFreedom@gmail.com. If you disagree or have a different thing on the top 10 craziest Democrat moments of 2023, we're gonna stick to Minnesota. Maybe we should do a state by state one. That'd be
boy.
interesting. Put the map up there and you click on the state,
Yeah.
you see it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with all that extra time we have.
Right.
All right, last thing we got to talk about. Unless, did you have a comment? You gave me a look there, William. Is there someone?
Yeah, I do have a
Yeah, go
comment from Carla Nelson. She just said, "Don't
Not the senator, Carla.
not the
Nelson.
senator, the wonderful follower we have here." She says, "Don't follow them. You may become a woman."
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Yeah.
warning.
Yeah.
Well, now is a good time for us to talk about Jake's man card contest of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 'cause I
Well, we
was-
got to work out the details.
Well, in our show prep, which really we should be filming, although it probably gets banned on everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned how Jesse's more of a man than William, or his man card's a little higher or a little greater than William, and William took great offense to that. And so we're going to have a man card decathlon at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And one is, what did we come up with? You have to drink brown liquor neat and see, we measure, it's going to be very subjective, but your reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. Another one might be lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
we'll
so
find
we're
it.
hammering it out.
Yeah, we'll get some good criteria on that.
Oh, they're so sexist. What about women that are men, right?
Yeah, right.
All right. Oh, is that the only comment? I lost.
I did want to
Okay.
point out that Tucker on Truth let everyone know that we have the best podcast, so we got to thank him for that.
Oh,
right
well,
on.
thanks, Tucker.
And you guys can follow us on Truth Social at action_4_liberty.
There you go. And we're on Twitter, action_liberty, because we have an old Twitter account that no one knows the username or password. So don't go to action_4_liberty on Twitter. We can't seem to find out how to open that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because we didn't care about Twitter until Elon took over. It's like, oh, that's the worst of the worst. Okay, we got to talk about this. Apparently, Zelensky was on some panel for a guy who's got his nation in war. That guy gets around quite a bit, you know. So he mentions how Americans need to also have their sons and daughters, in quotation, sons and daughters, basically go to war. Let's play this video. Yeah, you can play it on Twitter. And let's watch what he has to say. This is with the translator, of course.
To send their sons and daughters exactly. The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's nature that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, I think, I really think Pete Stauber should keep giving them billions and billions of dollars
Yeah,
of
right.
our hard-earned tax money, you know? That sounds
Such a
great, right?
Crazy thing to say. Like, even if
Dystopian.
you're a supporter of this war or whatever.
What the hell's going on with your mic
microphone
over
fell
there?
Even if you do support this thing going on over there, it's like he kind of wants this to happen. Like,
Of course he wants
I
it to
want
happen.
to send the American kids in. I want them to die. Like, how deranged is that?
Well, not from his perspective. From his perspective, it's awesome. Come over and help with the hardest part of our battle.
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that we just keep giving this guy billions of dollars, Michelle Fischbach, Tom Emmer, Pete Stauber, you're not getting much representation here in Minnesota. Of course, all the Democrats, Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith. Hey, let's open up the taxpayers' money and give it right to this corrupt government in Ukraine. And just so you know, the priorities of freaking these insiders in D.C., in the week that Donald Trump goes to East Palestine, which they've completely messed up, Joe Biden goes to Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a contrast that's better than that in the 2024 presidential election, I don't know one, because the priorities of Donald Trump is go to East Palestine. Priorities of Washington and elite is go to Ukraine.
Yep.
So Snopes apparently is kind of saying this is a mixture. We looked at AP News; they're calling it false, and that's a joke. But
Yeah.
pull up that Snopes article there, Dawson. So it's a mixture of truth and what's not true. I better pull it up on my screen because I'm not going to be able to see it. But I guess we'll cover this in the interest of fairness, right? Because that's what we do on the show. We're fair and balanced. Even though if you're watching on YouTube, we'll be off again because Mr. Handyman Tim said elections are being stolen. And I just reiterated it. Oh, shit. We're done. We're off.
You've been
No more
begging
YouTube.
Tim to come on the show, and now you're going to make fun of him for coming on and talking about what he
Well,
wanted to talk
we
about.
got a history of like first times. I think first time we let Jesse do his own video, that was like a strike. And first time Neil Shaw was on our, oh my God, our first timers. We need a jacket for the first timer club.
Yeah.
Zelensky did say the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending our sons and daughters to war. However, he was talking about a hypothetical situation in which if Ukraine loses the war against Russia, that would lead to a broader conflict resulting in Americans being pulled into fighting. So left-wing Snopes, because what a beautiful thing that these techie liberals have figured out. Well, let's be also the fact checkers. So first of all, let's give misinformation.
Yeah.
And then when real information comes out, let's control the real information with fact checking. Snopes.com and AP's fact checking.
I'd like to know if there is a good fact checker out there. If anybody knows of a like an honest, truthful fact checker out there, I mean, it would be useful to have because as of now, I don't know of anything that's actually honest. You know.
Truth hurts.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
not. But that's
There you go. We'll do your fact checking for you.
Fact. You know, we're not the.
Yes, we are.
We kind of are.
We're better.
Yeah, we're better. Yeah. Stop giving people stop giving other people business. Come to the Truth Hurts. We'll give you the truth even if it hurts.
One.
Yeah, well, good
we
job.
Are Jesse, we are the fact checker.
There
Yes.
is not. I'm saying, is there a website out there
No.
like PolitiFact that shows the truth?
You're getting really wrapped up
No,
about
you're
our
just
joke
trying
here.
to.
There's not. That's why we fill this void, Jesse. You do it.
You guys are misunderstanding what I'm
No,
saying.
I understand
entirely.
exactly what you're saying.
Yes, you
Jesse.
are.
We're doing a bit.
No,
This is
I
a
know
bit.
you're intentionally misunderstanding.
He's getting
that.
really worked up.
He is getting worked
It's almost like we're insulting Trump here. I don't get it. All right. So anyhow, our fact checking, which is what we're filling the void that Jesse's explaining right now, that there is actually not a really good website that does this.
But
And of
if
course,
there is, let us know in the comments.
there isn't. Come on,
There
let's
isn't,
be honest.
but now I feel bad for getting Jesse all wrapped.
You're saying
all
you
upset.
agree now. Okay, good.
Well, buy him some of your.
Well, no, I'm just trying to help you
buy him
make
some
your point.
panda for lunch, and he'll be good. Is that what?
I don't
have you
want your
decided
dirty
what you're
money.
doing?
Your dirty DeSantis money. I don't need it.
Well, geez, I was trying to be nice to you. eh?
Don't want it. Don't need it.
Children. Let's move on.
Yeah,
all right?
let's go.
All right. So anyhow, what they're saying, what's false is Zelensky did not declare that the U.S. will definitely send soldiers to fight in or die, and they put in quotation will. Well, of course not. He doesn't decide. He doesn't decide that. The fact is, he's calling for America to give up our sons and daughters, which I think there are already special forces operating in Ukraine. You know, I feel like there's maybe some momentum shift right now, at least in alternative media, on the side of not doing this crazy World War III, right? It's amazing that we're not all unified on this shit, but people still are wearing those Ukrainian, colors and stuff.
You know,
and
it's got the
you know,
flags outside their homes.
yeah, and they got what do they
Man.
call those things on your like Facebook thing, your Facebook profile? What are those called, William? You know.
The
Yeah, it's like a template you put over
Yeah,
it.
what is that called?
I'm blanking on the name.
Why-
I
why
want
are
to
we
say like
blanking on
it's
it?
a frame. That's what. It is.
Yeah, frame. There you go. So they got that, posturing, virtue signaling. So, I'm, from the get-go, been against this thing and not a dime. And I think these politicians are treasonous what they're doing, taking our money and sending it overseas to fight Russia by proxy. I mean, quite frankly, we do not have an interest here. I mean, we don't have an interest worth our time and treasure and our blood and treasure. Excuse me, not time and treasure, blood and treasure, but certainly not our troops. But, that's the thing is Washington loves war. War's great, and the media loves war too. And that's why they're so pro-Ukraine or Ukrainian war, because they love war. They sell more ads, more people, more eyeballs on their TV. Honestly, I think if this thing heightens any more, it'll be a big part of what we talk about on this show. And I think that will probably be a good place for people to go to get some real information, because we're not going to just be kowtowing the establishment talking point. And we'll be calling out all this stuff that's not working. But what really bothers me is this blowback of this policy. And that's the way I see this thing going, is it might end up leading to us engaging in actual direct war by sending our sons and daughters. Zelensky's right now saying something that I think is already being discussed.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that he wants to say that it's our responsibility. I agree with you that it's already being discussed. And because I'm not going to war. Even if they want to try to send me there, I'm not willing to die for Ukraine. I'm not willing to die for Zelensky. It has nothing to do with me. I'm an American citizen, and Ukraine's borders don't affect me. It doesn't have anything to do with me. I won't fight in that war.
Right. And I think I wouldn't phrase it so much that way, because I agree with your sentiment, obviously, but it's just the fact that I'm not willing to go, in my case, any more wars for these politicians, because that's what this is all about. I have no beef with the average Russian citizen. I have no beef with the average Ukrainian citizen. I feel real bad for these Ukrainian citizens.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
they're
obviously
caught in this war done by politicians.
Right.
But what I do know is us sending our money and then possibly our young children to go, young adults to go fight in these wars is so preposterous, and the blowback of this is so consequential. It could literally lead to completely changing the course of human history, because we're talking about possibly World War III with nuclear weapons.
And I got a video, if we do want to watch it, of back when we had a real president, back when we had a president named Donald Trump who had a real policy on Ukraine, who understood that it was America's interest that needed to come first. Dawson, feel free to play it. It's just like a minute long, and it was just what Trump was arguing for in the debate stage.
William, is that okay? Can we play this video? I just want to make sure with you.
I do think it's funny that we didn't talk about it before the show.
No, he's not getting you. All right, well, let's go ahead and hear this one.
President Trump do in response to Russia's aggression?
Well, first of all, it's not only Russia. We have problems with North Korea where they actually have nuclear weapons. Nobody talks about it. We talk about Iran. As far as the Ukraine is concerned, we have a group of people and a group of countries, including Germany, tremendous economic behemoth. Why are we always doing the work? We have countries that are surrounding the Ukraine that aren't doing anything. They say, keep going, you dummies, keep going, protect us. We can't continue to be the policemen of the world. We owe $19 trillion. We have a country that's going to hell. We have an infrastructure that's falling apart, our roads, our bridges, our schools, our airports, and we have to start investing money in our country.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that I've always loved about Trump is this non-interventionist foreign policy, which was much better than the predecessors of his, and certainly better than Biden, but maybe not quite as far.
Such a no-nonsense answer there. That's just what I like about it, too. He's going right to the point. He's talking about NATO. He's talking about the things that, most politicians don't want people to be, digging too deep into. They just want us to have a real simple view of things so that we're not digging into the complex issues. Trump is, always willing to give us all the facts, lay it all out, and he's not afraid if it's going to offend some people in the process. He's just going to say what he thinks.
And I love the best part is that he called them dummies. I love it. It's great. All right, let's finish off with some comments, and then we'll close down.
We got 3 new comments on Rumble. Okay. The first being from Billy22. This is back when we were talking about the lawnmower stuff. He said, make Minnesota Cuba, but instead of cars from the 50s, it'll be full of gas-powered lawn care equipment from the 2000s. Not a bad idea.
Cuba, that's true.
Flat Plane Jane said, yes, call out the military-industrial complex. Read all wars are bankers' wars.
Yeah, no kidding. And they love it. They love war because it is good for their business.
Yeah,
and then
that's
we got
a good point.
And it was Eisenhower who warned us of this entangling alliance with what they call the military-industrial complex, and the fact that we got to be careful. And that's what it is. All these contractors and big defense companies that are basically doing business with the Pentagon, and they want more money, and this is good.
And Eisenhower was a general. He was in the military, so he understands it firsthand. He understands it a lot better, and it comes from a good, strong point of view, and it comes from someone like him.
That's right.
Well, technically 2 more comments. Tucker says America first. Very true. Love that. KAC2 commented on the video as opposed to in the live chat, so I didn't see it until recently. But they ask, what are your opinions if Biden gives...
Wait, why did you say they?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a he or she. what
You're
gender do
so
you
woke.
attribute to KAC2?
You're so woke. I don't know the gender, so we're going to say they. Because after Razzle Dazzle...
it.
Because that was the problem on our last episode. Razzle Dazzle was Aaron.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that.
Should we
so
just
now
assume
you're
it's
just
men?
calling them they. That's your pronoun. If your name on Rumble isn't very obvious to us, your pronoun's gonna be they.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
We should just for comment reading require pronouns.
Especially if you have a confusing
What's Bill
username.
Dingson's pronouns?
That's
I'd
a
be
good
very curious on
question.
that one.
What are your
I
opinions?
know Bill's right now going, I got a good one.
What are your opinions if Biden gives sovereignty to the WHO?
Gives what to them?
Sovereignty?
Sovereignty? Is that what they wrote?
They wrote it. They
Did
spelled
you?
it wrong.
Did you? They spelled it wrong.
Yeah. Sovereignty.
Pull up the comment on. We start with Dawson spelling politicians wrong on our
Yeah, hold
banner
on a
this
second.
morning.
You have room to talk, Dawson.
No, but
All right,
it
so if he
is a
gives
good point.
So if he gives sovereignty to the WHO, is that what it was?
WHO.
Okay, sovereignty to the WHO.
Right, the World Health Organization, the WHO, it's all out there. They're connected to China, that they did the entire cover-up for the China virus, that and now everybody knows it came from the lab about time. And so the World Health Organization, obviously, they've been very controlling, especially with these vaccine mandates and pushing all of that. What would we do if they get sovereignty, fight back? That's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, I just want to see absolutely no money of ours going to these global bodies, UN included, right? I'm sick of this stuff. And that's the nice thing about Donald Trump is he calls them out on this stuff. But the World Health Organization, they're doing such great work. Now they're answering the Chinese communists. It's a joke. Why are we giving these people money? Honest to God, it just comes down to money in the end, because money represents things that you can do for your family. You might be on the cusp of, not really being able to pay your bills next month. And the idea that they take your money and give it to these global bodies of government is ridiculous.
Yep.
Or maybe you have extra money, but they still take your money and you can't hire or expand your business. And that hurts everybody. So I'm so sick of these global corrupt elitists, and we're just stupid. We give them our money. And, the nice thing about Trump was he started calling it out. And if he gets another term, Jesse, I hope he actually does some of this stuff and just, literally gets us out of these things.
Oh,
he got us out of that Paris
he-
Accord. That
right.
was good.
One of my favorite things that he did was that meeting he had with NATO.
Yeah.
Where, that was as baller as it gets. That was
Yeah,
as
that was
good as it
pretty
gets, where he's, right in their face telling them, why is it that we have to pay a higher GDP than these other countries? It affects these other countries more. We're paying a lot more into it. And our GDP, the value of that is a lot more than these other countries. And he just shows how, why are we the ones that are responsible to be the police of the world for your guys' issues?
There you go. All right. We're going to have to wrap things up because I know you guys are heading up to St. Cloud this evening. Stay tuned about what they're doing. It's going to be very, very, very interesting stuff. We might get some video footage tonight of one of these wacko Democrats. Come here every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock. Also go to a Rumble channel and check out their new show, Political Junkies, where Jesse and William accurately predicted that Lori Lightfoot would be bye-bye, gun, bye-bye. Also, great video. I didn't seen that before, but when she dressed up as
The Rona Destroyer.
The Rona Destroyer. And
It's
by the way, that
unbelievable.
was last Halloween that she did that, right?
Right.
So what's fascinating about that video, I'm sorry,
Or
I'm
you know what? It
spoiling
might not have been last Halloween. I think it was the one before that.
Well, let's say it was even in 2020, okay? She's going as the Rona Destroyer, and she's dressed up in a Clorox bleach thing.
yeah.
That's not how coronavirus spreads.
Right.
And we knew that really early on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's Halloween. That's October 31st.
Oh, yeah.
We knew by October 31st it was an aerial spread.
Mm-hmm.
So why is she dressed up in Clorox bleach with
Who
the...
knows? Yeah. Yeah, she's a nut job. Luckily,
Yeah.
she's out of there, though.
Yeah. She's not going to be mayor anymore in Chicago. Not that it's going to get much better.
Yep.
God. All right. Anyhow, we'll be back here again at Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, check our channel so you can see all the videos we post. In the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.